At long last, I have all 151 Pokemon.
Sir, they just discovered the Johto region.
Hey there, kiddos, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Uncle Frank. I hope that you are having a great day. And in today's video, I'd like to sit back in a chair that's being quite squeaky, relax, and have a chat with you guys about the number one thing I think any game needs in order to be successful. And how nebulous this one thing really is. You see, in my opinion, the number one thing any game, really, whether it be a card game, board game, RPG, video game, etc., the number one thing that a product, like a game and a collectible, needs to be successful is demand. Not nice art, not good gameplay, not collectability or rarity or anything like that. What it needs is some combination of those factors that mixes in just the right way, and many other factors, I should say. They all have to mix in just the right way to create demand, excitement, interest in the property itself for what it is, because games live and die and breed success based entirely on demand. Yes, if people want your game, it will sell well. If people don't want your game, it's not going to sell well. And there's varying levels of demand that different kinds of games can require. You know, a board game, for instance, doesn't really need a lot of demand in order to be ostensibly successful, because one guy liking it is enough to set up interest with a play group of his friends. Therefore, a store doesn't need to stock as many copies of a board game, for instance, or a video game, a single player video game. You know, one person, one sale, right? So a success of a video game, for instance, is determined by how many individual people want one copy of the game. In more recent years, obviously, microtransactions, DLC, and such have added on to the need for demand with aftermarket sales, which is crazy in my opinion. That's almost every single video game I've seen this year has had some sort of DLC. But that's an argument and a discussion that I'm just not interested in having, so whatever. But when it comes to card games, demand is a bit different. You see, with a board game, you only need to sell the board game once, right? And you got the full experience and everyone enjoys it, right? With an RPG, you only need to sell the book to one person out of a play group, just like a board game. You know, one guy has the core rules. Some other guys will have individual rule books for whatever mechanics they want to play with for their characters, and for the most part, that's one or two sales per book, per group, etc. But with card games, it's different. With card games, demand not only needs to be high with your intended customer base, but it needs to be repetitive, because the very nature of card games means that you can't just have a customer buy your product once. That customer has to buy that same product potentially dozens or even hundreds of times if they're a big enough whale, because the very core design of a booster box, a booster pack, etc., the random nature of that product means that the best case scenario for any company is to have a customer who is always, and I do mean always, coming back for more either cards to play or cards to collect. And companies have tried over the last 30 years a bunch of different gimmicks to try and elicit demand from potential consumers. And this video is not keyed in specifically to Magic. Magic is not the only card game that does this. It's just the most prolific, I think, of the ones that are currently doing the things that I'm talking about. And that is sales pitch gimmicks. Variations of art, border, serialization, cross promotion, etc. You know, other card games do that. Yu-Gi-Oh, for instance, had a sneaker tie-in deal where you got, I think it was Dark Magician for buying some sneakers. There was a Dark Magician themed sneakers, and you got a Dark Magician card with the logo for the sneakers on the card. So that was neat. But yeah, you know, cross promotion and all sorts of other gimmicks to try and elicit sales. You know, high value specialty premium collector boxes, crossovers with various IPs of varying levels of popularity. The point is, while you can argue back and forth with as many people as you like about whether or not these gimmicks are a good or a bad thing for the game itself, at the end of the day, what matters is Wizards of the Coast feels that these sales pitches, these incentives, because that's what they really are, to try and get repeat buyers into their game is a necessity, because at the end of the day, what matters most is not how good the product is perceived to be by the general or more entrenched audience, but how well it sells to the broader intended audience, the broader focus group. No, that's not the word. It's not the right phrase. There's a phrase for a like group of people that your company wants specifically to target audience. No, that's not it. Damn it. I'm really bad at remembering specific terms. Can you guys tell that I'm stupid? Regardless, what a chunk of the player base feels is a good thing versus what the company and its shareholders and its higher ups feels is a good thing, it's going to vary wildly. And this radiates down not just from gimmicks and serialized cards and all kinds of collectible variants and such like that, but it also like down to the very concept of rarity and scarcity and value of the cards themselves. There's people out there who genuinely do try and argue that Magic cards, let's just make this a video about Magic. They try to argue that Magic cards should not have a price tag and that the game was not designed for cards to be worth money. And cards are just game pieces and therefore should only be worth the aggregate cost of a pack. So if a pack is $4, then all the cards inside should only add up to $4 total. There are people out there who have that belief. But here's the thing: in a collectible card game with randomization, where the company wants you to keep coming back for more, you can't really have that and still have a game that sticks around. Because if the cards have no value and no secondary market demand, if a secondary market cannot exist because they are all game pieces with no value to them whatsoever beyond the expected value of the pack itself, you quickly reach a situation where everyone just buys the cards they need to play the game. None of the cards have any secondary market value, so investors, collectors, whatever, aren't incentivized to hold on to the cards. Stores are heavily disincentivized from buying boxes to sell to players, and distributors in turn are less incentivized to buy boxes to sell to stores, and sooner or later the entire house of cards comes down. And when all the cards are worth the same price tag, they are worth effectively nothing, which is a reality that card companies are very much aware of, and they do their very best to avoid. No company on the planet wants to hear that the cards in their packs have gone to 15 cents or 20 cents a card for every card in the pack, because they would all lose their minds, and they would probably be losing their jobs shortly after. You see, cards have to have value. The same way that cards have to be nice to look at, fun to play with, nice to collect. Cards have to have value, because value is one of those things that elicits demand. The very first word we were talking about. Value elicits demand from collectors, investors, speculators, whatever you want to call them. The people who are in it for the money, because people who are in it for the money are going to be fairly consistent buyers, especially if they have a lot of faith in your product. Whereas someone who's in it just for, let's say, a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, for instance, who gets into Magic the Gathering for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they love Ninja Turtles and they kind of like Magic the Gathering, right? They're not necessarily going to be the most consistent buyer of your product. Someone who gets into Magic for Assassin's Creed, or Final Fantasy, or Avatar, or Spider-Man, they aren't going to be consistent buyers of every single Magic set. A Spider-Man fan's only going to buy the Spider-Man stuff. Turtle fan, Turtle stuff. Avatar fan, Avatar stuff. You get it. But someone who's in it for the money, someone who thinks that buying and selling and flipping cards they're going to be in it regardless of the product, as long as they have faith that they can sell that product for profit, which makes them not necessarily always consistent buyers of your game, but it does make them more consistent buyers of your game, which stores care about a lot, and in turn, so do the companies producing these games, which is why, like it or not, value is something that they try to at least provide ostensibly, even if, the rumor on the ground is that game companies pretend they don't know about the secondary market, but they do. They keep an eye on it. They don't like the idea of third parties getting huge profits off of their property. But you bet that those people who are coming in here just to make profits off of the game, they have a huge hand in making a game successful. And if there is no demand from people who want to make money off of a game, and there's, equally low demand for people who are looking to collect, art, mechanics, play the game, etc., as that stuff declines, the chances of that game continuing also decline. So what do? You look for sales pitches, you look for gimmicks, you look for reasons for these people to buy your game, which is why we see what we see right now in Magic the Gathering. Pokemon doesn't really need it right now. Pokemon is doing great, right? It's why we see these individual sales pitches from these different companies trying to get people to buy all sorts of specialized cards, serialized cards, variant foils, variant art treatments, signed cards. I guess we're doing signed cards in Magic 2 soon. That's interesting. But yeah, that's really all I wanted to say. I really need to stress that companies need to create demand. And one of the best ways to create demand is to provide a product that the evil, conniving, mustache-twirling investors, speculators, collectors, the people buying and selling the product on the secondary market, you need to appeal to them. You need to appeal to those whales, as some would say, because they will have a huge part in keeping your product afloat, even when other ostensibly more passionate members of the community might not be regularly making purchases for one reason or another. It could not even just be because of, whether or not they like the set. There could just be, no need to, they don't see any cards in the set that they like, or cards they need to play for whatever reason or another. Or maybe they just really hate Avatar, so they just refuse to buy Avatar cards. I know someone like that. I know someone who is skipping the Avatar set just because he hates Avatar: The Last Airbender for whatever reason. And this isn't a call-out video, but you know who you are if you're watching this. Look, man, it's a good show. Please just finish watching it, man. You'll like it. But anyway, I'm about to get really off track. So thank you guys for watching up to this point. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment down below. What sales pitch / gimmick / interesting treatment might have enticed you to picking up a card game? Let me know in the comments section down below. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time.